Hey everybody, once again this is Jason with Art of Creation Homestead, and today we're going to take you through here. We're going to show our tomatoes. We've got 36 tomatoes planted. We're going to just talk about what we've done with them, how they're growing. Our goal is to grow obviously as many tomatoes as possible, to never buy tomato products again, you know, things of that nature. But we've got one set aside for different things. So we've got here we got some Amish paste. We've got 4 Amish paste tomatoes. They're growing really well, and so you got some fruit growing right here, starting to do well. Here in Southwest Ohio, we normally are not harvesting tomatoes until the end of July. So some more fruit growing. Everything's growing really well. This one right here is they've got 2 carbon tomatoes. Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you this right now. If all goes what they're looking at right now, I would always recommend to have carbon tomatoes in your garden. These plants are beautiful. We've read the carbon variety of tomato is extraordinarily resistant to a lot of disease in your garden, and by looking at them, I'd believe it. You gotta remember something, folks. I'm 6'3". Okay, look, I'm 6'3". So these plants are up to my shoulder already. These guys are doing great. Let's see here. Look, here's a nice looking tomato right there. They're doing wonderful. One thing that we've done also, since you've probably seen it when I look down, we put basil. Okay, we got 3 varieties of basil. We have 3 rows of tomatoes. So what we did was we took basil, started them. Obviously you can see there's some biting on probably some grasshoppers. They seem to like to eat basil. But we took and we put basil between the tomatoes every like 2 tomatoes. Okay, so we got 12 tomatoes in each row, so we should have 6 plants or 6 basil spots in each spot in each row, and they're gonna hopefully produce a lot of basil. But we did that off of Melissa K. Norris's idea. Melissa K. Norris had talked about doing that, and basically she's saying that it helps prevent some insects from coming into your garden area. That kind of wards them off, and it also makes a great companion plant for tomatoes because the tomatoes will kind of shade them some, and you get a lot of basil. Hey, tomato and basil always goes together, right? We love it. So there's the first row, and we'll end up with a black cherry tomato. It's our favorite cherry tomato at this point. It is unruly as heck. So I'm 6'3". This thing's probably up around getting close to 7 feet tall by now. Step back a little bit so you can see it. Came through, and Angela tied up a lot of these today. We tie them up. Okay, as you've seen, we do not do cattle panels. All right. It's okay to do cattle panels. I'm sure they work great. Probably work better than our system. Maybe. I really don't know. We like our system. We do use these cages that everybody calls flimsy. All right. People call them flimsy. They don't like them. Oh, they're a waste of your money. They're a waste of time. They're terrible. All right. Well, look, whatever. We've had these cages for a long time. We've had them forever. We've got T-posts here and there. If you use cattle panels, you still got to buy T-posts, right? Okay. If you don't use cattle panels, it's okay. All right. What we do is we take and we'll put the cage over top of the plant when we plant them. Then I'll come through and drive in the T-post. I'll take you around here and show you how we do it. We'll put the T-post in the top ring and down on the outside of the others and into the ground. Okay. Now, what that does is it stabilizes the cage. The cages, you know, obviously don't give a whole lot of support. We understand that, but it stabilizes the cage, and then we come in and we tie to the T-post. See, that allows us to tie into the T-post, and we love it. It works great for us. If you don't have the ability to get a cattle panel to your property, if you don't need a cattle panel, you have 6 tomatoes and that's it. Look, it's okay. Works great to do it just like this. We've done it like this for years. We've never regretted doing it like this. That supports them just fine. there's no issues with supporting your tomatoes in this manner. So don't feel shamed if you don't stake your tomatoes on cattle panels. Okay, it's fine. I promise you, they'll do great, and you won't have any issues like that. All right. This one, it's a blueberries. Okay, blueberries from Baker Creek, but obviously it's one from Wild Boar Farms at Baker Creek, sells their seeds. We've never grown it before, but so far we're loving it. It looks great. There's a lot of little tomatoes on it. I'm excited about it, really excited about it. I love tomatoes. I love fresh tomatoes. I do not love I don't love the tomatoes out of the store. They make me gag. They're terrible, flavorless, a waste of my time. These are 2 Paul Robeson tomatoes. Okay, I don't know if we've had Paul Robeson before. I don't remember. I think we tried to grow it one time and they fizzled out on us. These again have gotten affected by something, whatever it may be. They got affected by something, but they seem to have worked their way out of it. They don't look too bad. To be honest with you, they're looking pretty decent. So hopefully they've worked their way out of it, because we really want to try growing. We really want to taste these tomatoes. We're excited about them. So hopefully they've made it. This one right here is obviously puny compared to everybody else. He's a little guy, but he's looking better than he did. See, here's some signs of something that was affecting him maybe. But it looks like it may be dried up and moving along, so hopefully it does. This next tomato here, I'm going to show you. This one right here we're going to show you is one of our favorite tomatoes. Let's be real. This is an Abe Lincoln tomato. Okay, and you can see right here, look, eye level with me. Okay, it's eye level. It's fantastic. These tomatoes, okay, will grow massively. Last year, I don't think we had as good a year as we could have had with them, and we still got tomatoes that were like 32 ounces maybe, or 28 ounces. I think we had at least one that's 28 or 29. I'm not sure we got to 32, but I mean, a 28 ounce tomato, let's see, 16 ounces in a pound, 32 in 2 pounds, so we're right at 2 pounds there. I mean, that's a big old stinking mater right there, buddy. You want to talk about some mater sandwiches? I'll tell you what, they don't have a lot of seeds either. The Abe Lincoln tomatoes, this one right here from Baker Creek, get them from Baker Creek. You may not get the best Abe Lincoln variety if you don't get it from Baker Creek. They got a crazy story on how they got it, and it's awesome. We love it. I don't think we're ever going to be without it. And look how massively they're producing. Very few seeds in them. Massive tomatoes, very meaty tomatoes. Good for slicing, good for canning. We canned a bunch of them too last year. You're just not gonna get, a better red tomato, I don't believe, than this one. We love it. As far as red tomatoes go, maybe our favorite red tomato. The carbon tomato, by the way, that I was bragging on down there, it's a purplish tomato. Okay, so purple to maybe even black style. I don't think it's gonna be that dark, but it'll be purplish. Okay, so that out of the way. Next we go to Cherokee Purple. All right, Cherokee Purple is the #1 tomato in our garden. Be dead honest with you, and it's not my doing. It's the camera lady. It's Angela's doing. It's her favorite tomato. It's her favorite tomato. That's why it's the most important tomato in the garden. Y'all men know what I'm talking about. If it's your woman's favorite, then it's the most important, right? And so here we go. They are producing massively. They've always produced massively for us. I don't know. It's hard to describe how wonderful the tomatoes really are, but low acid, purple tomato. They're a great producer. We've canned a bunch of these, use them in BLT sandwiches, and you can see there's several nice tomatoes on here already. But then here's the Bonnie Best. Okay, Bonnie Best is a wonderful variety. We grew it last year for the first time. Well, maybe second time last year, but it's a great tomato. We love it. Great producer. You're going to can a bunch of those as well. If you want to compare it to a hybrid tomato, you might want to compare it to like a Better Boy, that size tomato. But it's a better tomato than a Better Boy. I'll tell you that much right now. And now we're going to go to Brandywine. This is Brandywine. Yep. So to tell you how I know it's a Brandywine. See, it's potato leaved. So So we got 2 Brandywines here. It's just a classic tomato, Amish style tomato. Everybody loves them. You know, they're not our absolute favorite, but they're great tomatoes. They're always worth a spot in the garden. It's hard to not grow them because they are good. But you know, that might be for us. It might be able to find its way out of our garden eventually if we like something else more. And the last tomato is the Hillbilly Tomato. Hillbilly Tomato. We've never grown it before. I wanted to grow it, you know, every year forever, and we never did. So this year we finally made a spot in the garden for it, and here it is, Hillbilly Tomato. It takes a while to get going, folks. Let's just be honest. It's taking a while to get going. I don't know if we have. There's one little tomato on. See, one little bitty tomato on right there. It's just, but there's a lot of blossoms. Looks like it's ready to roll. It's a potato leaf. It's potato leafed as well, as you see. Just a big, broad tomato. They're supposed to be large tomatoes, over a pound, and I believe they are going to be like a red-yellow type tomato, like kind of multicolored type deal. But I think, I don't remember. But they're supposed to be really good tomatoes. It's an heirloom, and I'm excited about it. I'm ready to taste these tomatoes. And one thing we do here, as well as Angela does this all the time, is she prunes the tomatoes. Now, we're not experts at pruning the tomatoes, but I mean, we'll take some and we'll you know, cut out some suckers. We'll cut out some of these leaves like this that may not be they aren't going to be productive or anything, you know, necessarily, but we leave some of them for shade as well. So you selectively prune. We selectively prune stuff, and and that helps produce fruit. Helps produce fruit, good fruit that will help sustain you. And I love that, because in Galatians chapter 5, the Apostle Paul wrote about the acts of the sinful nature are obvious. So he names off some sins, and then he talks about, but the fruit of the Spirit, the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, patience, kindness, perseverance, self-control. A big one. Self-control is a big one, you guys. Self-control is a big deal. People don't realize that. But so that's the fruit of the Spirit. So we don't produce fruit unless we nurture our plants. So see, a lot of people, what I like about that is, God told me the other day, he said, you know, a lot of people are misunderstanding this verse. The scripture, everybody's misunderstanding it. They think that these things are signs that you have the Spirit. And that's true. The Christian, the mature Christian should possess these qualities. But you only possess those qualities through nurturing that relationship with God, through nurturing the Spirit, because that's the fruit. We don't produce tomatoes here unless we nurture these plants, prune, you know, cut off what's not productive. Cut those things out of your life. Cut the things out of your life that are not productive. You chop those things out of there. Get rid of them. They're not doing any good. They're causing you problems, and you don't realize it. It might look good. This green foliage is pretty, right? It may look good on the outside, but it may be a relationship that you don't need. It might be, you know, a program on TV that you're not, that may sound good to the world, but maybe it's just not doing the best for you. Some music that you're listening to, that maybe some lyrics are getting in your head and you don't realize it. They just sound good. It's a good sounding song, right? But it's really getting in your head and affecting your attitude, and you don't realize it. Those things that are unproductive in your life, that don't need to be there, they're getting in the way. So you prune those things out. You know, you nurture this relationship with God. You nurture your plants. You know, you water them. You feed yourself through worship and through prayer and through reading God's word. But that's how you produce. That is how you produce fruit. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, perseverance, gentleness, self-control. So those are the things that you can only possess through nurturing that relationship with Jesus Christ. And maybe that's why we don't have so many of those things in our world today. We feel like, okay, Christians are supposed to have that. The church is supposed to have that, right? We got all those fruits of the Spirit. Do we possess those in abundant quantity? Or are we not? Or do we not because we are not nurturing that relationship with Jesus? So therefore that spirit can't produce all that really good fruit. Just something to think about. God speaks through the garden in that manner to me sometimes. But we only produce those fruits of the Spirit if we nurture that relationship with Jesus Christ, who gives us the Spirit. Then it produces fruit that is good for everything in your life. Again, my name is Jason. This is Art of Creation Homestead. God bless you. Goodbye.